Hey guys, so today I'm going to be sharing my research that I did on Toni Morrison with you all, and majority of my literary themes and summaries are going to be around her novel Beloved. The Research of Toni Morrison by Michaela. Biography. Toni Morrison was born on February 18th, 1931 in Lorain, Ohio. She grew up in a mostly black neighborhood where the storytelling traditions of her community influenced her perspective on how she saw the world. Toni gained her bachelor's degree from Howard University and her master's from Cornell University. She then started working as an editor at Random House, helping to bring more African American voices to the forefront. Her first novel, The Bluest Eye, that I have here on the right, was published in 1970 and showed themes of beauty and identity through the point of view of a young black girl. She continued those perspectives and particular themes through her other works like Sula and Beloved, that targeted issues around race, gender, and history. In 1933, she became the first African American woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature, and that set her impact on American literary text and summary. Toni Morrison's journey as a writer paved the way for her novel Beloved. After getting recognition for her relatable stories about race and identity, she created this tale that went into the effects of slavery. In Beloved, there was Seth, a woman who escaped slavery and was trying to rebuild her life in Cincinnati after the Civil War. She lives with her daughter, but their house is haunted by the ghost of Seth's dead daughter, who she killed to protect from a life of oppression. And what I mean by that is she slit her daughter's throat, to be exact, to kill her and spare her from the challenges she faced head on enduring the torments, torture, and molestation that came with being captured by slave catchers and slave owners and all things of that sort. When a mysterious young lady named Beloved shows up, it forces Seth to confront her past and all the painful memories that came with it. The story goes into heavy themes like motherhood, traumas, and how slavery impacts people long after they've escaped. And right here on the right is um front cover of Toni Morrison's book. Thematic interpretation. In Beloved, there are some important themes that stand out, such as identity. Throughout Seth's journey, it was based on her finding herself after the trauma of slavery. The ghost of her past messes with her sense of who she is, showing how history can impact our identities in several ways. History. The main characters of the story are haunted by their personal histories and by the history of their people. And I quote, the character of Beloved could represent the physical manifestation of history, signifying how the past can invade the present. When Seth nearly loses her identity and life through her obsession with her past and her resurrected daughter, Toni demonstrates how focusing on the past can be all consuming and destructive. Remembering the horrors of race. The book talks about the difficulty of race and the effects of slavery in America. Toni focused on how enslaved people were dehumanized and how that affects their relationships and sense of belonging. And I quote, The act of writing the book in a way is a way of confronting it and making it possible to remember. She speaks about the importance of remembering the past and how it should be always preserved in your memories. She always tries to give this message to her community people so that they can have an idea about their culture through the past only, and they should live together in a community. Beloved reveals that the lives of African Americans, the former slaves to be exact, who tried to create their lives for themselves through the penetrating personal histories. Motherhood. The importance of Seth's uniquely maternal individualism makes the structural economy of the mother and daughter appear less closed and less insulated from slavery and more vulnerable to destroy. Seth is frightened when Paul D asks her to have his baby, and I quote, "Perhaps the central problem, in fact, is the lack of very selflessness on the part of a mother to be that Stowe takes for granted." Seth responds to Paul D's request by thinking this: needing to be good enough, alert enough, strong enough, that caring again, having to stay alive just that much longer. Oh Lord, she thought, deliver me. Unless carefree, mother love was a killer. Sacrifice. One of the biggest themes in the novel that caught my attention the most was sacrifice. Seth sacrificed a lot for her children, the community, personally, even in life and death. For her children, she said, and I quote, "I would have died for you. I would have killed for you." This quote reflects Seth's great love for her children and her desire to go to extreme lengths to protect them. It shows that her sacrifices stem from a desire to shield them from the horrors of slavery, even if it means making unimaginable choices, like killing her child, for example. The ultimate sacrifice. It was a matter of life and death, and I quote, "and she chose death." This quote refers to the choice Seth made to kill her child rather than let her be captured and endure the horrors of slavery. It emphasizes the desperate circumstances that led her to believe that sacrificing her child's life is the only way to ensure freedom and dignity. Community sacrifice. And I quote, "They were all trying to make it together." This quote emphasized the theme of collective sacrifice within the community. The characters support each other through their struggles, illustrating how sacrifice is not only an individual act, but also a communal one. Their shared experiences in pain and loss brought them together. Personal sacrifice for healing. You have to be willing to give up everything, and I quote, this quote refers to the idea that healing and moving forward often requires personal sacrifices. Characters like Seth and Paul D must confront their past traumas and let go of certain aspects of their identities to find peace and redemption. I have a few thoughts and opinions on the specific thing of Seth killing her daughter, Seth having a child with Paul, and the arrival of Beloved. So starting off with Seth killing her daughter. While it's difficult for me to understand her actions from a modern perspective, it may have showed the deep trauma and desperation that she faced. Seth believed that death was a better option than the life of suffering and dehumanization that her daughter was facing. This raised important questions about motherhood, love, and the moral dilemmas that rise in the face of unimaginable suffering. With Seth having a child with Paul D, I personally think her wanting to have another baby with him is growth. It shows how much she actually wants a fresh start and a chance to build a family again after everything she's been through. Almost like she's trying to find some kind of hope and happiness in her life again, which is understandable. But at the same time, it makes you think about how complicated their relationship is. With all the trauma they both carry, it makes you think, can they really create something new together? It's a raw moment that shows struggle between wanting to move forward and being hunted by the past. In my opinion on Beloved's arrival, I think her return symbolizes the haunting memories of Seth's past and the trauma that refuses to be forgotten, like a physical reminder of the pain and guilt she carries from her decision to kill her child. Beloved not only reopens those memories, but she forced Seth to confront the consequences of her actions. Beloved's arrival also represents a chance for connection and healing. Seth wishes for the daughter she lost, and Beloved carries that lost love. Their relationship is intense and complicated, filled with both softness and tension. It shows how connected love and pain can be, especially in the context of their shared history. I feel like Beloved Arrival challenges the characters to face their past and seek redemption. The way Beloved affects Seth and those around her uncovers the hidden impact of unsolved grief and the hope for reconciliation with the past. In conclusion, Toni Morrison's life and work have greatly influenced American literature, with Beloved being an example to her powerful storytelling. Morrison passed from pneumonia in August of 2019. Through her study of themes such as sacrifice, trauma, and challenges of motherhood, Morrison invites us to confront the painful impact of slavery and the strength of the human spirit. Her ability to combine personal and collective histories into her narratives not only commend those who suffer, but also challenges us to reflect on our own histories and relationships. Thank you for listening to my research of the great Toni Morrison and the enduring impact of Beloved. And these here are my scholarly sources whom I cited from in a few of my slides.